Muchísimas gracias, querido presidente del Senado, Pedro Royan, querido ministro, gracias, José Manuel Álvarez, querido presidente del Tribunal Constitucional, Cándido Conde Pumpido, querido presidente del Foro Nueva Economía, José Luis Rodríguez, queridos eurodeputados, distinguidos invitados, colegas y amigas. It has been over a month since the devastating floods that brought unimaginable loss and hardship to Spain. The shock and sorrow resonating throughout all of Europe. But in the days that followed, our heavy hearts were uplifted by the massive wave of solidarity as people from all corners of Spain came together to help. People coming together in the face of adversity is at the heart of what it means to be European. The European Union has been by Spain's side in these difficult times, providing urgent support to help Spain recover and rebuild, and we will continue to stand in solidarity with the Spanish people. I was here in Spain the morning after the floods, and as you know, and as was said, we were all supposed to meet on that day. But the tragedy reminded us all of just how fragile life can be. And today, I am grateful that we can all be together, and I am grateful to be back in Madrid, a city where I have always felt very much at home. Because Madrid is a city that embodies Spain's unique spirit, rooted in tradition, yet always looking forward. It reflects the warmth, the generosity, and openness that define Spain, and indeed all of Europe. It is truly a tremendous honor to receive this award. And I do so on behalf of the entire European Parliament, of my fellow members, and of all those who work tirelessly to defend the values that bind us as Europeans. This award is not just a recognition, it is a responsibility. A responsibility to stand up for freedom, for democracy, for equality, peace, and solidarity. Values which are the very fabric of our union. Values that are increasingly coming under threat. We are at a pivotal moment in Europe's history, and the challenges we face demand leadership, clarity of action, and unity of purpose. Europe's place in the world must be clear. And when people look to us, they must find direction. I believe in Europe. I believe in our ability to meet this moment in history. Now, my optimism is not a blind one. I have seen how we stand together in the face of a pandemic, how we navigated the economic impact of the last few years, how we addressed the energy crisis, how we stood shoulder to shoulder with those fighting for freedom and for Europe in Ukraine, how we kept the pace with tackling climate change, how we passed critical laws on migration, on equality, on the social pillar, on disability, on security and defense. Together, we are making the future, if I can say, a little bit safer, a little bit fairer, and a little bit more prosperous. It is on those values and with that same unity of purpose that now we must keep building our Europe. That is the ethos of the European Parliament. And here I must extend my deepest thanks to my fellow Spanish members of the European Parliament for your unwavering dedication. We could not have done this or anything without you. It was the constructive forces of Europe who delivered and who must deliver again. It was those forces that, after a decade of political impasse, passed groundbreaking legislation to build a fairer and more robust migration system. For too long, frontline communities from El Hierro to Lampedusa and Lesbos have shouldered the responsibility. For too long, member states have felt alone in this struggle. And with the new Migration and Asylum Pact, our message is clear that this is a European challenge that we will address together. It is that spirit of Europe, that sense of leadership, that must drive our response to the conflict in the Middle East and to finding a sustainable way towards a lasting peace that provides both hope and security. And Europe has a role to play, and we must live up to it. Just as we have done in Ukraine, where we continue to stand with those fighting for their freedom, for democracy, and for Europe, for as long as it takes. Just as we have done in Venezuela, where I am proud that the European Parliament awarded the Sakharov Prize to Maria Corina Machado and Edmundo González Urrutia, and we will present the award to them in Strasbourg next week. Dear friends, I said that my optimism is not blind. Indeed, it is informed, what I would say, by a dose of realism. I will always be proud of what the European Union has achieved, but we must also be honest about where we could have done better, where we could have listened more or acted faster, where we may have gone too far, too fast. Too many in Europe still struggle to make it to the end of the month. Too many young people worry about whether they will find a job or afford a home. Too many businesses are burdened by bureaucracy and rising costs. And people look to us for answers, and we must respond or risk them finding comfort in the false narratives of the fringes and the extremes. A few months ago, the people of Spain joined their fellow Europeans in choosing the future of our continent in the European elections. And they gave us a clear mandate to build a Europe that is stronger, that is more secure, and that is more competitive. To deliver a Europe that creates opportunities for everyone, one that leaves nobody behind. How do we make this vision a reality? We must first start by deepening our fragmented single market, especially in sectors like energy and finance. We must support European businesses, boost innovation, and unleash investment. We must make life simpler for our entrepreneurs or risk them moving elsewhere. Making Europe more competitive also means making Europe more secure. But rising global tensions are putting Europe's security at risk. And that is why we must maintain our global leadership. Nobody else will do it for us, to make sure that we have control over our own future. We all followed the results of the elections in the United States. We should not be surprised that America will pursue its own interests. The European people also elect their own leaders, and we will always stand up for Europe. But my hope is that our partners understand that America first will never work if it means America only. Spain's role is crucial. With its unique ties across the Mediterranean and across the Atlantic, Spain is key to building a Europe that can speak to the world, a Europe that can lead in a new world, a Europe that is tough when it has to be, but a Europe that ultimately remains a force for good in this world, a Europe of opportunity that can live up to its promise for generations to come. With this award, we at the European Parliament recommit ourselves to that mission, to stand up for Europe and the values that unite us, even when it is hard to do so, especially when it is hard. So thank you very much for this great honor. Gracias. Viva España. Viva Europa.